Collecting scary stories is now an obsession for me. My next victim for interrogation was Clive, not his real name, a friend of my mother's. As a former clinical psychoanalyst, he has witnessed his fair share of the strange, but his most unforgettable is the terrifying case of Patient Sigma. Clive was a specialist in criminal cases, probing the minds of the most diabolical criminals to understand what creates monsters. A couple of years ago, he received an unusual and irresistible request from the military to investigate the case of Patient Sigma. Sigma was the code name given to a particularly sensitive case which the military did not want to make public. Patient Sigma was an exemplary soldier, part of an elite special forces unit, highly trained and highly secretive. Notably, he was awarded for one particular act of heroism when he single-handedly protected 14 civilians from a raid until his squad could arrive. He was critically knocked unconscious by a nearby mortar explosion and was clinically dead for 3 minutes before the medic successfully revived him. While he had a young family that worried about him, he was a patriotic military man with a duty to serve his country. He was keen to resume his career despite his near-death experience. After being given a clean bill of health, he reported back for duty. A few days into his training, he started to develop a chill, no matter how warm the environment. Over the weeks, he became more and more distracted, until the nightmares began. At night, he would suddenly start screaming and whimpering, cowering at some unseen horrors that seemed to be haunting him. The Army psychologist initially assessed it as post-traumatic stress disorder and ordered him to be confined to his barracks for a week's rest. 5 days in, his entire platoon failed to show up after reveal. The squad captain marched angrily to the barracks to find out why. Upon entering the room, he was hit full force with the gruesome sight of blood-splattered walls and half-eaten bodies strewn all over. Patient Sigma stood at the center, naked except for a coat of blood, crying in agony whilst gnawing on a dismembered limb. Rushing out of the room on pure instinct, the captain retched up his breakfast before summoning the military police. When 6 MPs entered the room, Sigma shook his head maniacally, yelling, "No choice, they forced me, they are watching." As they moved in to subdue him, he babbled, No, don't come near, they are here," and backed away. After some stiff resistance, the MPs managed to secure him by the arms and legs to carry him out. One of the other MPs observed that as Sigma was being carried out, he was struggling wildly and crying out in pain. Large, animal-like bite marks appeared over his body, dripping with saliva and mixing with blood. In his condition, it was decided that it was best to isolate Patient Sigma. A small unused building on base was converted to a makeshift cell that was constantly guarded. Strapped to a hospital bed, his movements were restricted and under camera observation 24 hours a day. Despite heavy interrogation, he was completely unresponsive. He just lay there unmoving, staring at the corner of the room, his eyes constantly wet with tears. It was at this point that Clive was brought in to help find answers. The following excerpts are notes from his journal. Tuesday, 17th of August. Finished reading case file for Patient Sigma. Definitely intriguing. Why does a good man commit such evil? Initial assessment is acute post-traumatic stress syndrome combined with hyperpsychosomatic hysteria. There must be more to this than meets the eye. PTSS rarely involves cannibalism and spontaneous bite mark wounds. We'll meet with Patient Sigma tomorrow. Wednesday, 18th of August. Patient Sigma was unresponsive to questioning or physical contact. Checked his pulse to ensure Sigma was still alive. Elevated heart rate detected, approximately 170 BPM, and shallow breathing noted. Eyes appear alert and pupil dilation normal. At least can confirm we're not dealing with a zombie here. Good thing, as I don't believe in zombies. Thursday, 19th of August. Patient continues to be unresponsive despite not being physically comatose. I've reviewed surveillance footage in detail. Very strange. Sigma never moves. Even more strange, Sigma does not appear to sleep. Further, he appears to talk to himself when alone. Behavior particularly active during late night or early morning periods. Frustrated to find that surveillance cameras can't pick up sound. We'll need to get that fixed. Friday, 20th of August. I've secretly added the microphone to the room during today's visit. Sigma is still unresponsive and has not eaten for the past few days. Muscle mass clearly deteriorating. Sigma continues to lie in the same position. He has not shifted since I've arrived. Observation confirmed with security footage. Patient just stares at the same spot all day and night. Tested a hypothesis this afternoon. Stood directly in front of Sigma's vision. Sigma immediately began screaming, loud and frightening. Stepped away and Sigma resumed catatonic state. Spent 10 minutes examining corner that Sigma stares at. It's beige. Could be that has a calming effect on Sigma. Will require further observation. Monday, 23rd of August. Spent the weekend reviewing more footage and new audio. Sound quality is poor, not picking up any distinct words. Frustrated at having wasted 2 days of progress. I have a plan though. We'll sneak into cell this evening to listen in and record. Patient seems most active from 10 p.m. onwards. Visited Sigma again this afternoon. No change other than eyes being noticeably more bloodshot. Tuesday, 24th of August. Wasted another night. Stupidly brought flashlight to sneak in. Sigma stopped talking on approach when he noticed the light. But I have a cunning idea. I've managed to borrow night vision goggles from Contact and Unit Supply. State-of-the-art, active infrared military-grade hardware. We'll be able to walk in complete darkness. Plan to observe Sigma on camera, then sneak in when he starts talking tonight. That was the last entry in Clive's journal. He abruptly resigned the following morning. Not long afterwards, a mysterious fire destroyed the makeshift cell block, incinerating everything inside, including patient Sigma. Clive had managed to sneak in that night. Carefully peering into the room through his goggles, he saw the green outline of Sigma on the bed, staring at the corner. Straining, he heard fragments of Sigma's conversation with himself in between heart-wrenching sobs. The only things he could catch were promised, don't harm, family, leave Sarah, did as you told. After a few moments, Clive realized that patient Sigma was not talking to himself, but the corner of the room. Curiosity got the better of him, and he stretched his neck to look there too. Sticking out of the wall were 3 monstrous, goat-like heads, liquid dripping from their maws, talking back to patient Sigma. Clive unconsciously gasped in horror, and the 3 heads snapped their attention right at him, their demonic, glowing green eyes now aware of his presence. Pure terror compelled Clive to forget everything, including bladder control, and to flee the building. Rushing past the door with his limited vision, he slammed into the guard on duty, tripped and knocked himself unconscious. He was also lucky to have missed splitting his head on a sharp rock by just a few inches. It didn't take much more for him to hand in his notice shortly thereafter. Even today, Clive still doesn't know what he really witnessed in that room at night. When pressed, he reluctantly reveals this much. He suspects that there are many things waiting for us on the other side. In those fateful 3 minutes that patient Sigma was dead and finding his way back, he'd inadvertently brought something back with him. And he's not sure whether that something is looking for a way back, or, having escaped, is looking to roam free. Wherever the truth lies, I do know this. Throughout our whole conversation, Clive never once took his eyes off the corner of the room.